Good afternoon everyone. Welcome to a lovely sunny day in the Isle of Man, 1st of May. I've based my design around springtime and I've started the base with Phormium tenax and some pussy willow to represent the nests that the birds are making at the moment. They've all been very busy and making such a noise in the garden at the back. And then in the middle of my design I've got a piece of contorted hazel. When I did my Demonstrator's test, you had to know all the names, and it's Corylus avellana contorta. Now, should anybody know better than that, or I've got the name wrong, feel free. You can send me as many emails or phone calls as you like, but that is how I know it. I've got some more pussy willow here to reinforce what's going on, and at the front of the design I've got a little bit of winter flowering. I have to think about this because a lady in my class used to call it Ribena, viburnum. So that's how I'm starting my design. So just to add a little bit more to the pussy willow group, just to make it a little bit stronger, if I can. This is lovely pussy willow. You do know with any willow, if it dries out, you can reconstitute it by soaking it in water, and it will take on the water. It'll soak up the water through the whole of the stem and hopefully become quite pliable again. So I'll just complete this little group, if I may. Oh, I think I've hit a rock. There we are. Get that in there. And just one more piece for luck. That's what one of my teachers always used to say. One more piece for luck. Now, I'm not going into too much detail about the design, just to say that it's based around springtime, because one of my mentors way back in the mists of time said to me, never tell your audience what your design's going to be, because it may not turn out that way. You've got all the right components, but not necessarily in the right order. Where have we heard that before? Just using a little bit of the very bushy eucalyptus. It's a beautiful little shrub, and lots of people that do wedding bouquets like it because it's so delicate and it's a little bit different. So I'm just going to reinforce that group again with a little bit of greenery. Not a lot, don't want to overdo it. Okay, so just start with that. Now, I've got a little bit more of the Ribena for later on, but I'm going to start with these lovely Alstroemeria. I don't know the variety of them. I tend to take an awful lot of the leaves off, the little ruff around the neck, because that's where the water goes and you don't want it to take away from the flowers. So I'm going to add a few of these to the upright. One a bit taller, if I can. And get that in there. But they're lovely. To me, they're like giant snowdrops at this time of the year. We've just started to get the snowdrops in the garden, which is always a welcome sight. One of the estates on the Isle of Man is called Milne Town, and it's a wonderful house that Sir Clive Edwards used to live in, and it's not far from where we live. And round about this time, on one of their big lawns, all the snowdrops will start to come up, and they look absolutely amazing when they're all grouped together. They look fantastic. And there's somewhere on the Isle of Man, I can't just remember where it is now, and they were advertising on Facebook for snowdrop teas. But unfortunately, we won't be able to go ahead with those at the moment. So I've just reinforced that design, that little group with the Alstroemeria next to the contorted hazel. And now I've got a few very, very pretty tulips, which I'm going to use as another group, spread out over to one side. And we all know what tulips do. They just keep growing and growing. So this time tomorrow, wherever I decide to put this design, these tulips will all have headed for the sunshine, and they won't be in anything like the position that I've used them in this afternoon. But I like them when they've been out of water for a little while, so that they're a little bit on the floppy side. They look quite natural then, naturalistic. This oasis is a bit tough today, I don't know why. I did soak it quite well, and I put flower food in it, which is always a good thing to do because that continues to feed your flowers. So I'll just spread them out in a little group over at the side here. Again, I don't know the variety. I don't know whether you've noticed, but the cost of flowers has gone up tremendously at the moment. I suppose it's all to do with the Brexit, isn't it, and the new laws that have come in. Christmas seems such a long way away. We had a lovely time, didn't we, with the Advent calendar. And soon, at the end of this month, it'll be Easter. So that's another landmark on the calendar. It's funny how we live by landmarks, isn't it? Just one more, little darling. Just popped towards the back there. Nothing wrong with putting a flower towards the back so that you can actually, see it through your design instead of all of them being forward facing. So that's the second little grouping, out to one side, looking quite jolly, quite naturalistic. And then for in the middle, I've got a couple of these beautiful begonias, the ones with the pink edges. Unfortunately, well, they're from a friend's garden again. I don't know the name of them, but I just couldn't resist them when I went round. Absolutely beautiful. So just pop those in the middle. Just there, just a change of shape and a change of texture, just to add a little bit more interest. And then these Alstroemeria are slightly different to the ones that I used before, in as much as they're quite green. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut them quite short now. For anybody that doesn't like their flowers cut short, look away now. Oh, I heard you all go, oh. I want to bring them right down to the bottom of the design, if I can, in another little group. Just over to this side again. And because they're not opened fully, you get the benefit of all the little buds. Just move that one to the side so it's not enclosed in that little group. Pop that there. So that's another group of the very pretty Alstroemeria right at the front of the design. And then to finish off, I've got a little bit of, I never know whether it's Solidastra or Solidargo. I believe it's something to do with the length of the stems, but I'm going to call it Solidastra. So this is to just add a little splash of colour, which is what we want at this time of the year, isn't it? Everything's coming to life in the garden. Everything's starting to grow. My husband's got the shakes because it means he'll have to go out and get his wellies on and start doing things. And really and truly, he likes to sit on the settee. But I'm sure it'll get done. Right, so just add that to there, just so that it can be seen at the side. And I've got one or two small pieces that I removed. I'm just going to pop that back in my little trug. One or two small pieces that I removed, which I'm going to add to the centre, just in here, just to carry the colour around. It's beautiful, the daffodils and everything, they're all starting to come out now. So, those are the placements for my flowers, for my spring design. And because we're coming up to Easter and we're calling it Easter Parade, I've just got a little addition. Now these, I actually painted these, seems like 100 years ago now. They're actually hen's eggs. And it was before you could dash into TK Maxx and buy a box. of already painted ones. So these are a la Margaret. Okay, so I'm just going to add them to the twigs of the contorted hazel. Just that one. And I've got this one needs to go all the way over. Come on, let go. That's it. All the way over to there, and then link it back into the hazel. So I've finished my design now, my Easter parade, and I hope you've enjoyed it. It was very quick, but a lot of people say that about me, and she fast. So there we are. I hope you enjoy the Easter parade, and I hope when your Easter comes that it's cool, calm and serene. Thank you very much.